Last time on Fix-tion, we left our heroes, Dan and Matthew, on a tremendous journey in space with the Mass Effect relays. But this time, they venture into the darkest realm of Diablo. Stay a while and listen, and maybe click a button like or something. We like that.
Everyone, welcome to Fan Fiction.
Hello.
We are here with episode 3. Once again, I am your host. I am Dan, and this is
Matthew.
Matthew.
I changed it to Matthew. I got it legally changed. It took like $50 in a court case. It was weird.
Yeah, $50. That's all it took in a court case.
I don't want to talk about it. It was lengthy.
You know, in my phone, you're actually under Matthias.
Oh, dang. That would have been better for the Diablo episode.
And I think we maybe have talked about this. Matthew and I have been friends for a very long time. He introduced me to the Redwall series.
That is correct.
The Brian Jacques.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It probably is. He is French, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And one of the main characters, one of them, it was
Matthias.
Matthias.
It was like Madamio. A lot of Matt names.
Yeah,
and I think that's what really my narcissism was really spoken to in that series.
Like, that's why I loved it, because I was every main character.
But seriously, read Redwall and the series. They're really good.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
He also has a cookbook.
You know, that's a series that I'm surprised hasn't really made the jump to live action yet. Like
they tried to do some anime stuff.
Did they?
Yeah, I think there's some animated cartoons out there, but yeah, I'm surprised they haven't really touched, because that's a ripe for the picking.
I mean, and there's so many. I mean, Redwall to
all of them. I mean, they have like I can't think of the books off the top of my head. There's like an upside down ship on the cover. There's a bunch of them.
I remember reading it going like, oh, I thought ferrets were evil. And then I was just like, this book was just like, every ferret you meet is just the dirtiest, terrible version. Yeah. I was like, I knew it. I knew they were evil. And this just cements the whole thing. Well, speaking
of evil, Dan, we're going to talk about the prime evils today.
Ooh.
And starting off with Diablo and the series in general, I believe you and I really bonded on that one.
Oh, yeah.
I remember long nights of bringing the old PC towers to each other's houses, running some Diablo 2 marathon nights.
And this was pre, like, big internet. This is when you would land together, throw someone's IP address out, and just pray to God that no one tripped over the cord for the entire night.
Oh, God. Which I think happened at least once.
Every time I think of Diablo 2, which is, again, and I know I've said this about another game, but like, this is a heart game. I have played hours and hours, and I'm sure tons of people have. I mean, it's universally beloved, but this game is super special to me. Every time I think of it, I instantly taste Coca-Cola and barbecue baked Lay's.
I was really hoping you'd say barbecue blanket. And I'm like, what did you?
Well, don't judge me. How I play things is how I play things. How you play things is how you play.
I just dip my blanket in the barbecue sauce, and it makes me feel good.
But we would show up. We would go to the basement. We would crack open as many cans of Coca-Cola as possible. Open baked Lay's, and not come out until the sun came out.
Oh yeah.
It was
good times.
It was a good time.
And
all right.
Yeah, even with myself, I started with Diablo 1, and I believe you did too.
I actually started with Diablo 2.
You started with 2? Okay.
Silly enough, my brother-in-law got very annoyed by me. I don't understand how. And he just threw me in front of his computer because he didn't want to deal with my shenanigans anymore. And he's like, this is Diablo 2. It's a great game. Just leave me alone. And then, like, boom. I was like, well, this is love at first sight.
Well, I'm sucked in now.
And so then he went back and showed me Diablo 1. And then I got in, like, the whole thing. And then, well, Diablo 3 happened to all of us. And we'll get to that eventually.
Right.
But for now, I just want to sit back, take back, and think of our fond memories of Diablo 1 and 2.
Until the second half, where we just rip it apart.
Until we just systematically destroy every single 1 and 0 that makes the whole thing together.
Just a few ones and zeros.
A few things we want to change, but that's the theme of the show. Okay, so what I always like to do start off is Matt.
Yeah.
Favorite class?
Oh, well, when it came to the first one, funny enough, I always picked the Ranger class.
Really?
I don't know why. Usually,
I'm
a sword
big distance person.
No,
yeah, that's really strange for you.
I guess it's because when I played with my cousin who owned it at the time, and he always took the barbarian or the sorcerer or the mage, and I was like, I guess I'll pick the range guy and just let you die first.
Yeah.
But then when it came to 2, Necromancer all the way.
Oh, really?
Loved it.
Oh, man. The jump from classes from 1 to 2 was crazy.
Amazing.
I mean, the first one was just basic, mage.
First one was like, rogue, hey, here's a warrior, a buff dude, a range dude, and a magic dude. Just, that's it. Like, good luck.
So really great. In 1, I want to say I was always a warrior.
It was pretty it's just a good all around class.
But you'll notice and you know this about me, I don't like magical characters. I don't like playing with magic. I don't like anything
which is
like
funny
that.
because in Diablo 2, you kind of picked one of those hybrid ones.
So here's the thing. So if I'm gonna play Diablo 2 right now, I'm going Druid. Just because I like to have as many pets as possible. I am a pet hoarder. I love it all. 20 minutes into the game, I have a vine creeper, I have 2 ravens, I have 4.
Well, I guess we're kind of similar in that sense because I had blood golems and iron golems and
but you can't pet a blood golem. You know,
I mean, you could,
but you get stuff on your hand.
Well, yeah, but that's why you got that scythe to scrape it off.
I need something to love me back, and I feel like
I can force a golem to love me. It has to love me.
I love you, Matt.
Thank you, bloody construction that I made from a pile of enemies. Yeah,
and now corpse explosion.
Well, there's always that Dungeons and Dragons joke too, like when you group up with a warrior and a ranger and a necromancer, you're like, who will help me on this journey? Oh, well, the barbarian goes, you have my axe, and the caster goes, oh, you have my spell, and the necromancer goes, and you have your brother, or something silly like that.
Yeah. So clearly, as we all know, this was owned by Blizzard.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, not doing too hot.
Never heard of them.
Not doing too hot right now.
Did they make Crash Bandicoot?
I know. I think that was Naughty Dog.
Oh, right.
Very similar, though. Very, very similar.
Well, Naughty Dog.
Let's not talk. We're too on topic. So you have said, what was your favorite in 3? Did we talk about that one yet?
No. So we both touched upon 1 and 2. As far as 3, I'm trying to think what I played the most. I want to say I played Monk the most.
Really?
Yeah. There was something about it, like just the abilities. I was like, you know what?
You're a liar. I am calling a challenge right now. Matt, the second that witch doctor graced the screen,
that's true.
That character was created for you.
So let me back up. Witch Doctor was first and foremost my big one. And then after that, after a while I switched to Monk, and Monk is what really took over after that. Yeah. Because Monk just got silly.
Oh yeah.
But don't get me wrong, Witch Doctor is still way up there on my list because zombie bears and just frogs. It's just such a silly
frogs
class.
In the jar. Jar
and
bees.
The voice acting is so good in the Witch Doctor.
And I always love playing next to him because every time he would throw a jar, he's like, jar of bees!
It's jar of spiders.
Jar of spiders! Spiders! It was a good time.
Oh, yeah. Witch Doctor was... Oh, I forgot about Witch Doctor.
I don't know why, but even 2, and as much as I love the Druid, like the Paladin...
Yeah, you really went
in 2, and what were they called in 3? The Crusader?
Crusader, yeah.
I mean, just
fun
something.
Class.
There's something about just that giant chunk of armor, the sword, the shield, like just something about it.
Don't forget the best ability: dragging someone in a chain behind your mount,
or just at any point having a hammer spin around you at full speed, knocking people out.
That's just concussion on a just.
Well, I really liked him in 2 because he got Holy Frost pretty early.
Actually, I think in 2 you only played Paladin and Druid. That's the only 2 you would touch.
I did Assassin every once in a while. Yeah, I do like the Assassin. Her abilities were fun,
and that's the thing about it too. Like every class felt fun and special. Until you got to New Game Plus.
I didn't like the Amazon.
Really?
Yeah, I've tried playing her a couple of times, and each time it just it fizzled. Like there wasn't that spark that kept me going. It was just like
the only thing that kept me going with Amazon was the javelin. If you didn't go javelin, it wasn't as fun.
Yeah, but everyone could have javelins,
right? But they really shined with her.
Yeah, they shine with her, but nothing felt very unique or special with her when everyone can have the same weapons that she specializes in.
I mean, I think my bone golem even had a javelin.
Everyone had a javelin. My wolves had javelins
in their teeth.
My vine creeper just javelins.
It was built with javelins.
It's just nothing but javelins. So what I want to talk to you first, Matt, is what do you think is the big lure of 2, like lure, that is bringing it and still giving it the credence of this, like one of the greatest games ever? What do you think about it? Or what do you think is making it still so prevalent?
I mean, just the fact that I think people love treasure and dungeon crawling and things of that nature, it really epitomized the gameplay aspect of going into a dungeon, killing things, getting loot, and the storyline was basic enough, but also complex to where it just felt amazing. It felt like a live action Dungeons and Dragons.
I was about to say those exact words. Yeah.
Same with how the first Final Fantasy was. It was just, here's like a Dungeons and Dragon type feeling that people used to play, pen and paper and stuff. Mm-hmm. Here's a really great version of this virtually.
Oh yeah, it was great. The skill tree.
Skill tree was amazing.
I mean, was just so graciously built. I really, every time I think of it, I always get the soundtrack. And
Oh
I'm really bad at trying to emulate the sounds that I'm hearing in my head, and it never
Yeah.
comes out right. But like, dun, 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 like,
well, and each
oh,
it's such a great sound. Like everything just fit perfectly. It had that, and plus the theme, the gore, like the
Mhm.
gory gothic kind of, just really well.
Yeah.
Same with the first game. Like you just kind of got. Not
And-
a lot of games did that.
and this was the first kind of adult feeling game that I played with my friends. I
Right.
mean, we always played Mario, we always played other things, but this was like, this is us taking our video game to the next level. There's stats involved. You know, you can't just pick up a new weapon and use it. Is it better than your weapon? Oh my God, this has -5 damage, but the dexterity gives me a +5 boost. You know, like it made you really think about every single decision you made for your character to
Yeah.
make them as best as they could be. You
It
know?
was definitely like they gave you a lot of breathing room, but yeah, you really had to pay attention where you were throwing what where. It did not hold your hand a lot with the
Oh, yeah.
stats and the
and the
tree.
and we'll touch back about this later, but like I also loved, and I usually like playing video games by myself. Like I've said it before, I don't like playing online games. I don't like having to rely on other people to play video games.
Yeah, not always. Yeah,
If I want to play games with a friend, I would take up a sport and go outside. I'm inside for a reason.
right.
But with Diablo 2, every single time, and the same with 1, they had random map generators.
Oh yeah.
So you would start a new game, and although the scenery is the same, yeah, you know, you're in the camp, the exit's at a different side, the whole layout of the map is completely different. So you did get this new feeling of like, this is a brand new game.
Well, yeah, we definitely like turn around what you thought. Like, oh, you go here the first time, surely it's gonna be the same. Nope. Or
Mhm.
like in the first game, where like as we were talking earlier off camera, or camera, Mike, there is no video. But no, like we were saying with Diablo 1, to ourselves, like you would start a game and sometimes there'd be a scenario. I think it's what the scenarios are like. There's a well, there's a
Yeah, in
poison
1
well,
there's like you would show up and sometimes the well would be poisoned.
right? Or sometimes it wouldn't even show up, or
Yeah.
other, like just little things like that. Randomizing just makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Dragon Age 2, with your
Yeah.
maps.
Hey, Dragon Age 2 is fantastic, and we'll talk about
Oh no,
that
it's a
in-
great game, but their maps were
Okay,
Pretty
like
boring.
yeah, okay. Everything's got to small little down. We're gonna do a Dragon Age episode. Do not worry. But no, another thing that I loved about, and I don't know if you can speak to this, but like when you're playing Diablo 2, right, and you're in the first area and you're kind of just piddling along, and God blesses you, and you get a green real early, and that feeling of getting your first green, and it's always Keglig's Claw or Arctic Furs or something like that.
no, it's
Like,
always Arctic first.
we already know what it is, but that green drops and you're just like, yes.
You know, that brings up a good point. Yeah.
Yes. You know,
And that really touches on that like endorphin.
oh, the
button,
dopamine rush you get.
Yeah, just same with like the treasure find. Like, oh man, there's a green, and I want the whole set.
Oh yeah.
I remember we used to like have set hunts together.
Oh
like,
God, yes.
it was such
yes,
a
yes.
bragging right to get
Mhm.
sets, and then like, I don't know, it kind of waned in 3 with the set thing.
Oh,
It got a little,
threes,
got a little kooky.
They changed it. And we'll get to that too, because I want to leave that for the second half,
Right,
where it's
but-
things we would definitely change about 3 and the lore
Oh,
moving
yeah.
on. But like just whenever you're running around and then you get like an experience shrine, and you're like, great, now I have to murder faster. You know, like
time to here I go kill it.
Here's a
again.
stamina shrine. Like, great, now I have to murder faster. Like
It did make you feel like you had to use them, or else you were just a
I mean,
loser.
I'm 35, and I still every once in a while just be like Rakanishu, you know, just
oh
like
man, what a brilliant thing too!
I loved it. Like from the
Just the weird little
gameplay.
quirks from
Oh,
the
yeah.
writers, and
Wah!
like yeah.
And just even the sounds of like when the shaman would regenerate, when the
And you know,
like-
honestly, another thing I think that it touched upon, especially like for like the first game and the second, like in that like kind of where horror games really shined,
Mhm.
like just that sense of terror going around the
Oh,
corner
yeah.
and like, oh god, am I gonna die if I go around this corner? Because I just get mobbed by
yeah, and the gothic
13
feel,
things.
the gothic feel of the entire game. You know?
Yeah.
So
oh,
it-
beautiful.
As we all know, you start out, and I think we're basically gonna keep 2 as an anchor point.
Because
for
once
what we
again,
talk
2
about.
is the best. In
2
the
is the
series.
best. We'll dance back on 1. We'll touch base on 3, mostly on things we would like to change. But I think 2 is going to be, if we're praising this game,
Oh yeah,
it's going to be what 2 did.
right.
But
Because 1, for how good it is for its time and all that, it was still very not a lot of meat, more
Meat.
potatoes.
yeah, sure. But I
But, you
remember,
know,
so
sold.
you're walking around, and there's the graveyard. It's kind of cutting, like it doesn't seem all that interesting right off the bat. Open fields, stony plains,
Blood Raven
and
yeah.
Blood Raven, all that stuff. And then you go to like the crypts, Or then you go to like the prison or like the Blood Queen. I don't know, she's not the Blood Queen, but like
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
then
yeah.
it just takes a turn into the absolute macabre of like there's blood everywhere, corpses
Well, you
stacked
start-
up all
and
around
then
you,
they-
and you're like,
yeah.
oh, this is a little bit more intense.
Well, when
than I
you're in
thought.
camp, they tell you the lore too and stuff. And you're like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
oh, geez, she did what? Oh, God. Like,
Question: did you gamble a lot?
you know, honestly, I did.
You did.
The gambling
Ugh.
system's fun.
I always had this like stiff, staunch belief that I would never buy any loot and I would never gamble at all. Like
you must pay
everything,
the iron price.
Yeah, exactly. Everything I find, I'm gonna like murder somebody for it.
And that's fine. But like the gambling thing was just such a rush because you'd be like, oh, okay. Because
And his name was like Gahid or something like little on the nose with the greed based thing, but
Yeah.
okay, that's fine.
Greed, but we replaced the
We put
R
it
with
in
the H.
Genius.
Yeah.
Put it in.
Which is fine. I get it. You're busy.
Yeah. They got a lot of stuff to do.
They had
today.
stuff to do. They had to build a cow level.
Oh, so yeah, the cow level is something we can touch base on. real
Oh,
quick.
man. What a genius idea.
That was fun.
I remember laughing so hard the first time I ever got there.
Yeah.
And it was just, what a thrill. What a great thing to throw in a game. Just some random cows with halberds and just mooing. And then when you kill them, the funny sounds too.
So did you end up buying the resurrection pack at all?
I did not.
I did. I have it. And I played like 10, 20 minutes of it, but nobody else has really played it yet. And I'm waiting for like other friends to jump in so we can do it
Oh.
together. I've been playing other games right now, so it's
Yeah,
not
that's
like
kinda
high on
where
my
I was,
list of
yeah.
like go back and play it.
That's kind of where I was. I'm like, I got so many things on my plate right now. Like,
Mhm.
I might go back because I already wasted so much of my life on T2.
I'm just glad it wasn't like a full $60 game though. I think it was
Right.
like 20, which I think is completely reasonable for a
I think that's
remake
fair. Yeah.
on like console. So it's not too
Yeah.
bad. And it's cross-platform. So like if somebody has a Switch and I have the PlayStation 5, we can still play
Also,
together.
we're not sponsored by them, but if you want to sponsor us,
Yeah, feel free if anyone wants to sponsor us, you know,
Blizzard,
just
no.
like it doesn't even have to be nerd related. If you sell paintbrushes and you want us to drop paintbrushes on here, whatever you want, we are 100% for it.
That's funny.
So we've gone over how one of our favorite things is the ever-changing locations.
Oh, we never touched upon. So, no, I guess we did. We did state that you hate Amazons. That's your least favorite.
I don't
What about
hate
what
them.
about in 2 and 3? What were your least in?
My least favorite,
Or
well,
one
in
in-
2, it'd be the Amazons. In 3, I shouldn't say I hate them, but the Demon Hunters are not fun to play until you get to a certain point, and then they become fun. Like
I
it just
just
takes
didn't like
so
the
long.
edgelord feel to them. You know?
Yeah, I don't think it's too edgelordy.
It felt very edgelord to me.
It's well, and see,
Let me say, it felt more anime hero.
yeah.
And
But again,
Yeah.
and so it's fine. We can start talking about it now. I think one of my biggest complaints about Diablo 3, and I've played it numerous times. I bought it, they have my money, and I'm still going to play it. I usually do a playthrough once a year, is that everyone knows, like we mentioned earlier, Blizzard owns the whole thing. And with the success of World of Warcraft, the animation style of Diablo 3 was way too influenced by the World of Warcraft look and feel. Like honestly, if you look at what everyone looks like, and I know the graphics are better, so we should have, but like the oversized,
pauldrons.
yeah,
and,
pauldron, and like just the weapons.
Hey, I'll
became
have you know, people fought hard to get those
but
oversized
people became
pauldrons back.
like things became comically large. And muscles
they
became
do
like,
that.
and everything became a little too.
They really do love going
animated.
on that like Saturday morning
Like-
cartoon, like beef muscle.
And the
kind of
skinny
feel.
people are way too skinny. I like the first two because like it was
Eat a cake.
because it felt like, you know, if
No.
the druid, if you look at, he's not like ripped. The druid's just a
Right.
guy who looks like he needs a shower.
He looks like a dude who fell out of his garage
Yeah.
one day and some animal started talking to him.
But then I'm sure when you look at the druid in the next one, he's going to have a rippled 6-pack, you know, like everyone's got to be the most attractive,
Yeah.
you know, overdone version of themselves. And I know I shouldn't complain about it because it's not that big of a deal,
I
but
get it's fantasy. But, like, it would be fun just to see some average Joe every
Yeah.
once in a while.
just a squire just getting murdered left and
Squire
right.
would be a great class. That's
Yeah.
a great one. Like, he's just some dude with like, oh, sorry, I'm late. Like, oh no, he drops a couple of bits of armor. Like, oh crap.
Oh yeah, but like I wonder how many times it's like, you know, they've always. I hope that if and when I die, so I die and I get to heaven, if there's a heaven and all that fun jazz.
Well, there is.
And
It's called
and
Sanctuary.
there it is, and there's a book about all of your life, and every single fact about your life is there. One of the
Ooh.
questions, yeah, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Okay, let's be very frank, but I want to know how many times I have clicked the mouse because of Diablo.
What if for every click on the mouse because of Diablo, you had to like spend that many years in purgatory?
Oh, because like God hated that game.
I hate all PC
you
games.
played the game
man.
based off my rival, great. Yo, you love that game. Talk highly of it.
I
Have fun
gave
in
you life,
purgatory,
but you
jerk.
played Diablo.
Yeah, there was a game called God, okay, and it was great, and no one cared.
Actually, it was called Black and White, and that was a great game.
That was a great game. I just actually talking about it not that long ago.
Oh, no kidding.
It's fun.
Surprised they didn't make that reference in Diablo either. They could have been like, oh, remember that?
Because I was trying to get my nieces and nephews into it.
Oh, that makes
Because
sense.
I think they're right at that age where those kind of games where, you get to be a little bit villainous, but also for the good reasons.
Wait, you were a villain?
At Black and White. Come on.
And this man thinks he's going to Sanctuary/Heaven.
I'm probably just going to be in Luke Ghislaine for the rest of my
Dude,
life.
Tyrael's going to
Let's
be
be honest.
so mad at you.
I know. Well, didn't really care for me in the first place.
I was going to say, yeah. Great guy, though.
Great guy.
Actually, he was a great guy throughout the story.
Hey, if you're ever in Sanctuary, ask to get Tyrael's buffalo dip recipe. The man makes a buffalo dip like there's no tomorrow. Okay, it's fantastic.
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Don't listen to that Belial guy. Gives everybody a bad review.
Okay, so let's talk about some complaints about Diablo 2 real quick, because there's not many of them, but I do have some. Okay.
Oh, really?
And I think anyone who's played 2 has to relate to this. One, Duriel is entirely too powerful for that early of a boss.
Oh, yeah. That
Like,
freeze plus
I don't think I've ever not died at least once. Like,
he's rough.
it took me longer to devise the strategy of how to get a town portal so close so I can run away and then come back when I'm unfrozen. Like, it's
we call that the cowardly rat.
The cowardly round. It's fantastic, and I've mastered it at this point. And then moving off of that, well, even staying on it though, like, even if you have the set that cannot be frozen, you still get frozen.
Yeah, I think that was like a bug or something.
I remember the utter betrayal. I was like, this game's a liar.
Oh, I got real mad because I think it's Arctic Furs.
Yeah, because I had like 4 pieces, and it's like, cannot be frozen. I was like, challenge flag. I definitely can be frozen.
Why do I feel cold?
And then right after that, so you're like, oh, good. Or maybe it's before it. The scarabs with the lightning.
I think that's before it.
And how like you hit one, you're like, oh, this won't be too bad. And then lightning bolt, just, and if there's more than 4 scarabs in the room, I don't need what's in that room. Like, done. Like, I'm okay. You guys seem to be enjoying yourselves.
And goodbye. Nope.
Moving on. Again, cowards run. It is a very strong move, and I use it.
Look at this cowardly rat running away again.
And I felt like that's why I like the druid too, because I'm like, go get him, wolves.
Well, yeah, I mean,
go
with
get him.
necromancer, I'm just like, yeah, go. You're already dead. What do you care?
And then especially if you spec to like, so I used to do like a lot of summoning, but also I dabble in elemental.
I remember you being big on like the fissure.
Yeah. Oh, fissure. You just keep dropping things. Like, if I can take you
I
out
remember doing
across,
a run with you, and that's all you did was like fissure. And I'm like,
it works. It's so perfect. I love it.
Jeez, like find another spell.
Hey, we got through it because of fissure. Especially in the Arcane Sanctuary in Luke Ghislaine later, where the desert takes a hard left turn into astral space for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
And so you can like, the pathways are very narrow.
Well, and I just remember the weirdest thing I thought about Necromancer too is they had that corpse explosion.
Sure.
I was like, am I just building up the gas in it and it's making it gross? Like,
is this?
I started thinking about the biology of it.
Is this just science?
That's what I kept thinking. I'm like, am I just speeding a natural process along?
Have you played a Necromancer in 3?
No, I kind of stopped playing when he jumped back in.
Yeah, well, so that was
which made me mad.
Second DLC or their second expansion that they put out?
I think it was because I played the first expansion that because that's the problem with 3 too, is it's such a burnout after a while, and you get burned out.
Yeah.
But like, I stopped right when my favorite came. I'm like, jeez.
and I mentioned this sentence before when we were talking about Mass Effect, and I think as much as I said it then, I definitely mean it now. Diablo 3, one of the biggest complaints about it is way too involved with online gaming.
Yeah.
I mean, the auction house fiasco.
Oh, that was fun.
That came out. And for all of you who don't know, they started it, and World of Warcraft has an auction house where players can find items and then put them on sale for like in-game currency. Like, hey, look, I found this.
Yeah, there's tons of games that do like the in-game currency.
Found the super rare sword. Yeah. I'm not going to use it. Instead of just selling it,
perhaps my fellow player will want it.
And we'll have a bid war, and I'll get more money than in-game, right? And this thing just tanked so hard on release that within a month, they scrapped the whole thing from the game.
Yeah, it was fairly early because they were like, oh, well, what if we took that same concept and made it real money?
Oh, that's right, because they actually used real currency.
They were like
you can put your credit card
here's
in
a
here
nickel
and
for
stuff.
this sword now. And then people are like, nah, we're going to make like
Because
30 bucks,
and some
20
people
bucks.
just started farming things left and right.
Oh,
and
well,
flooded everything.
When you throw capitalism in a game like that and you got a bunch of people who want to hurry up and get to the end game, like, it's going to happen. Pay to win, baby.
And you had to be connected.
Mobile games have proven this.
Well, and also 3 was the one that you had to be online to play. Even if you're playing by yourself, even if you're like trying to do a solo run, you still had to connect.
That was always my
BattleNet.
biggest
And
hatred.
that is my number one complaint. Like, do not make me internet reliant. Diablo 2 was always there for me. If I'm on a plane and it's on my laptop, I could be anywhere. I could be in the Antarctic.
Well, that's the thing. You have your multiplayer character, you have your solo character, and you have your maybe hardcore character.
I'm hardcore character. Yeah, everyone's got a hardcore.
And then if
character.
you didn't make it very far, you delete it real quick so nobody can see how bad you were.
Yeah. Except it stays there, right? It's a ghost. It's like a ghost of your failure.
That's right.
Like,
you're like,
thanks, Blizzard, just for reminding me.
I love that aspect though. I love the hardcore character in the hardcore mode.
Oh, I think it's a brilliant because you have to change how you play things.
You got to play real different.
Oh yeah, like those scarabs. That's when you get in with the javelins because I am not upfronting anyone.
Oh, that's when I switched from like golems and stuff to just like, here's a bone spear. I'm just staying in the back.
I think that's the one. Whenever I do play a hardcore, I usually do barbarian, who can take a lot of punishment.
Barbarian's real fun,
and then also leap out. Because leap is an amazing defensive move.
What a great ability!
Like, actually, it seems silly, but you just boom.
My
boom,
favorite
out of there.
Barbarian one is the Grim Totem.
But
look at this corpse! Where you just put a flag and you essentially make like a flag or like a little banner out of bones and gross matter.
What's it do?
I think it just does. God, it's been so long. I think it's just like a buff to your attack and HP or something like that.
Doesn't he also have one where he can shout at a corpse and like potions come out?
Give me loot!
Like just a dead body's like, hey guys, check this out. And just like a potion pops out.
It was like find more items or something. Like, it was just hilarious.
I was always an aura junkie. I think that's why
auras are fun.
I went so hard with paladins because even like me and Matt did play. He played World of Warcraft a lot more than I did. I dabbled in it, but whenever I do play, I always like being the healer because I feel like more people want to be my friend if I'm a healer.
Oh well, that's it. Yeah,
of
course.
So it's like, you just get high enough, learn how to click 4 buttons, and instantly everyone's your best friend.
Oh, okay. I just looked at the Grim Totem just to be safe.
What's it do?
It actually makes monsters flee. That's right.
Okay.
It scares them away.
So it's just you're yelling at them.
Well, you yell at the corpse to make a Grim Totem. And then the totem, they go, oh, no, not the totem.
So you yell at a corpse to make the totem that scares the people away?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You don't yell at the thing. It just makes a totem.
Oh, because I feel like you should just be
turns a corpse into a totem or a ward or something.
Feel like you should just be able to yell at the people or yell at the demons.
Oh,
and
I'm
just
sure.
Have them
I'm pretty sure that's one of the other moves, too. I mean, he had a lot of yells, so.
And that's the other thing.
Surprise there.
When I did play, I got really upset when I was playing Barbarian in 2 because one of his entire skill trees is like weapons mastery.
Yeah.
But I go through so many different weapons that I'm not going to commit to like swords when in 10 minutes I'm going to go find a mace.
Yeah, that was one of the harder ones. It's kind of like Skyrim has the same problem with weapon types too. But it's not nearly as bad as how Barbarian was.
Yeah, I just remember
especially in New Game Plus, you get really hard over on that. Yeah.
All right. Well, Matt, I do believe it is time. We will see you back a word after our sponsors.
Welcome to our new podcast. Welcome to our new podcast.
This isn't working.
Agreed. I think we're going to have to do it turn by turn.
Well, now that you mention it, we are a brand new RPG video game podcast.
Our very existence hinges on turn-based gaming.
So join us on the Turn by Turn podcast, where we'll be talking about
Pokemon, Fire Emblem, Golden Sun, Shining Force, Mother, and so many more.
It's your turn to come and join us.
Tristram Travel Agency. See the sights of old Tristram. You want to have some fun, Dan? Well, there's Wart's Stand-Up Comedy Club over on the corner. Is that a poison? Also, we have a poisoned as hell well right in the center of town. Go ahead and try a cup. Hey, did I mention there's death, and more death? Also, there's scary caves under the town, below the town, with contains a Lord of Terror and a man down there. But ignore that. Just come see the town.
Come on down. Oh.
Hit our gym. Sweat a while and glisten.
Sweat a while and glisten.
Perhaps go to the comedy club, have a beer, and you'll be pissing.
All right, stop it.
All right, I'm done.
Hey, this is TC,
And this is Jim from the Studio Demands It podcast,
where every episode we take a demand from a hypothetical studio
which could be you.
and challenge ourselves to conceptualize, pitch, and craft a film based on the stipulations
Or the demands.
we are given. We talk about movies all the time. Particularly, we complain about the choices made in the films we've seen.
We're nerds like that.
And, of course, like any good nerd does, we automatically assume that we could do better.
Even with the demands and restrictions that clearly must have been put on by a production.
So head on over to studiodemandsit.com and listen to our previous library of episodes. Our library of previous episodes. Our precious library, Jim. Our library of precious episodes.
You're a pirate, Smeagol.
Okay. So head on over to studiodemandsit.com to listen to our library of episodes.
And submit your demand for a future episode too.
So go do that.
Okay, bye.
Okay, end of ad.
Special session of Diablo. I'm kidding. I can't keep that up. That's
I was going to say it, man.
That's too much.
I was winded.
I don't know
just
how
listening to
I don't
you.
know how people do that.
All right, so I think during the break, me and Matt had a little bit of a chat about how we really wanted this second half to go.
And boundaries.
And boundaries. Well,
You're too hard of a hugger.
We're still on. We're keeping a lot of things on the table. Okay, I'm not removing anything yet. I hug because I love, and that's all you need to know.
That makes sense.
But really, for the second half of this, we need to get into the lore of Diablo 3
Right.
and the story.
Just overall lore.
Yeah, and I think that they're pretty solid for 1 and 2.
Like
maybe,
like I was saying, 1 is good for what it was at the time. It's just
Sure.
here's the bad guy, here's the good. Go do the thing. Here's
Yeah.
a couple little twists here and there, but nothing really. It's solid.
Yeah, in 2 they definitely like expanded it out.
Oh, they went
They-
crazy on the world building.
But I think with 2, it was like the first level of world building where everything's okay.
Right.
Because you got a good foundation, and then all of a sudden, let's bring in Mephisto. We're bringing in
all the primevals.
Yeah, all
his
the primevals
brothers,
are
everything.
in.
Yeah.
And like the expansion, Lord of Destruction, is probably one of the best expansion packs you're ever going to find.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the Assassin and Druid DLC, like
I mean, Bale himself or Baal or however you want to say it.
I mean, but honestly, the thing that I cannot stand though is those little leprechaun looking things.
oh yeah,
That would teleport everywhere. Oh, like
Forgot about
nightmare
those.
fuel. Hated them. They'd always, and then they would jump in towers and shoot fire at you.
Yep.
Not a big fan. Not a big fan of those at all.
Oh,
Um,
the cutscenes too. Beautiful.
Oh yeah, they were
Cool.
Oh, the one where it's just like they're holding Bale, like, and as they're approaching a castle. Remember that one? It was like, I think it was the intro to the actual.
Oh yeah, you're talking about where they're hoisting him up on like a throne thing.
Yeah, and just like
That's where he's
basically-
attacking Mount Irate or Ariat. With
Ariats, Mount Irate.
Mount Irate. That's the actual other DLC.
Yeah, not many people bought that one.
They're
though.
barbarian city. Yeah.
So, but
area.
really, I think the lore and the fix that we need to talk about is how they decided to bring everyone back together, demon-wise, for 3. Because just as a refresher, there was a soul stone that you had to take to a Hellforge that contained the primevals, right?
Yeah. So essentially, the Herodrum, or not the Herodrum, Tyrael and the angels and all them made the soul stones to contain the evils. And then, yeah, in 2, you end up finding the Hellforge with the Hellhammer.
Sure.
No original there. Hey, they were busy. They had things to do. Gotta speed this along.
Like,
we got angels and demons to
let's
make. We
wrap
got
it
a
up.
hierarchy.
we got to go spend time and money on World of Warcraft.
That's
We don't
right.
have time for this.
What do you think keeps the lights on?
What do you
That
think
old
keeps the
joke.
lights on?
But no, yeah, essentially, and there's even a part that always bothered me was Deckard Cain and all them. He was all like, "Oh, well, you have once you break the soul stones with the Hellforge and the Hellhammer in hell, like,
Yeah.
it sends him to like the abyss, which is not the void, or vice versa,
Why
whichever."
can't anything ever happen in
I
New Jersey?
don't-
Everything's
right.
got to happen in hell.
And apparently they said, and I verbatim say, like, they can never return to the material realm.
Yeah, ever again.
Ever
It's
again.
Shattered.
And then, like, you go and you shatter Mephisto's, and you're like, cool. Then you go take on Diablo, because the game will not let you progress unless you kill Mephisto's
Sure.
soul stone.
Yeah, makes sense.
Which I didn't know. I found that out. I was like, oh. if you try and I'll do it later.
Mephisto was such a joke of a boss,
I
though.
know, and I
like
was-
for the
and for a
strongest
primeval.
for the strongest of the brothers, I don't even really remember that boss battle. I know Diablo I can remember, Baal I can remember, but Mephisto.
It was just like him floating around and shooting lightning at you.
Was there lava? And
No,
like
you're
that?
indoors underneath the temple of like that Zachariah or something like that.
Karas docks or something like that.
So it's the jungle area, and you go to the temple, and you go down, and you break the ritual thing, relics holding him bound. You try to race Diablo and Baal to get to him.
Yeah,
and then when you get there, they beat you to him, so you got to beat him down.
Okay.
And then, he's just floating and shooting lightning. He's really annoying.
Okay. Like lightning bosses.
Lightning bolt.
10 out of 10 hate. So, but like,
but yeah, anyway, you break his stone, he's gone.
Yeah.
Notice he never came back, or he's barely even mentioned ever again.
Yeah, I don't think he's mentioned at all.
No, just 3. Here and there, barely ever. I mean, they mention him, I think, briefly in some notes and stuff, but and then you do the same thing to Diablo, but then like in the third one, they just like, oh, well, when the one dude's I just read his name. Zul Cathan. We'll say Zul.
He sounds like a bad guy from an early Power Rangers episode.
Rasputin bald guy.
Yeah, Rasputin bald guy.
Generic Rasputin shows up.
Rasputin.
He's like, I made a black soul stone. Tee hee hee. And you're like, I'm just gonna suck all the evil up. And that's essentially the plot for 3 is like, well, one of the plots for 3, because it's a lot more to that. But like, he's just like, oh, and apparently Diablo's soul got sucked into there, even though it was not supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then it's just kind of like your MacGuffins are like kind of weighing you down.
So if we had to rewrite this, if say we couldn't use a MacGuffin soul stone or anything, I think it's easy to say that like, well, even though the person's dead and their soul stone is destroyed, there's still so much pain and suffering in the world that, a war has happened and, you could just have a dictator that's just ruthless and killing everyone. And just by his destruction alone could resurrect.
Like Baal, because he's destruction.
Yeah. Or something like,
or terror.
Yeah, anything like that.
So you're thinking more like, because we call it like a tribute or something.
Yeah,
or like,
because I think when you have somebody that's Diablo is the Lord of Terror. As long as terror exists,
right,
he can never be destroyed.
And I agree, because like bringing in the Soul Stones, it was cool for the first game, because like canonically, I don't know if you knew this, the warrior in the first game is the one canonically the hero who puts the Soul Stone.
Absolutely.
The other 2 didn't matter. I mean, I was cool with the Soul Stone thing, and I'm like, I'm cool when you set rules, but when you start fudging the numbers a little, like
like this is the only soul stone we have in existence until 3, and then there's another one.
Well, he was in the void, because we destroyed
the void, the beautiful video game
abyss,
void where things go until we need them again.
I think there actually is a difference between like the abyss and the void in their lore or something like that. It's kind of silly.
Okay,
but apparently like the place where they can never materialize again.
Yeah,
Diablo just somehow just materialized again.
But I have, and as much as we're kind of pooing on 3, I did love the Ari, or what's her name? The witch, Ariana.
So,
I love the callback because she's her hut from one. Adriana, thank you.
I think so. Yeah,
her hut from 1. So the big callbacks to 1, and that she ended up being in cahoots with the Dark Wanderer the entire time.
That was cool.
And that this little girl,
and the Dark Wanderer thing to begin with was just fantastic. Too. What a great plot device.
I mean, even in the they did the updated graphics for D2 Resurrected, and just to rewatch that intro now, and they added more to it, so it's not just like shot by shot or anything. I mean, I remember sitting back going like, "Dang, okay, this is
this is pretty.
This is pretty." Yeah, look at all of those souls being sucked to hell. That's some 4G real crisp, graphics right there.
But I think that's their problem, is they kind of forgot, like, oh crap, if we're gonna make a third game, we got to find some loophole to bring Diablo back, and it's because it's in the title.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you name the game Diablo, it's not like you could have another boss. So it's
you can, but I guess they're afraid people won't buy it. But then again, when you have such a well-loved game like that, I wouldn't be,
I mean, you could even, and the whole world is the land of sanctuary, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Something like that, yeah.
But like, so Diablo is Spanish for devil, right? So we all know that.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm blowing people's minds. But like, there has to be other devils from other cultures, like the new God of War. It jumped from Greek, and now we jump to because we took care of all those gods. Now we're going to go into the Norse mythology. Like, I think we could easily take devils from other cultures and start bringing them in, and not just the same old Diablo
Right.
Lord of Terror.
Or like I was
Diablo
saying,
Lord
like
Terror.
what we could do too is like if you want, you could even rename it to like just call it Sanctuary or something, or like the Fall of something. I mean, you're such a well-known brand, and like, you know,
Well,
as much as people hate Blizzard Activision, I mean, you know, it's a recognizable.
oh yeah.
You can just rename it whatever you wanted. Nobody's gonna bat an eye. Like,
As long
they're
as
still gonna play your game as long as the game's still good.
As long as they keep the core
Right.
kind of idea of it, just
Keep
a
the core-
dungeon crawler, give
core
us a
world
skill
building,
tree,
yeah.
you know, clicks and all that other fun jazz.
But I do feel like they kind of shoehorned in Diablo just for the namesake.
Yeah.
And like I
But
said,
this was a girl Diablo. I mean, so that was cool. Like,
we're moving up.
yeah, like equal opportunity, you
And
know.
that's fine. I don't really think about
It's a shame that she didn't get paid as much as the other Diablos did. But we're working on that.
I mean, she worked thrice as hard
She
to
worked 3
become
times, yeah.
the Lord of Terror.
Uh,
She wasn't just born with it. She actually had to like work her way up going through dungeons with the hero.
but I do remember because like, what's her name? Leia? What's
Leah, yeah.
Leah.
Leah.
And so, like, you know, Decker Kane's granddaughter. I thought she was just going to be.
Isn't she an apprentice? I don't know.
I
if they
think she's
I
Uncle.
don't
No, Uncle Decker. Uncle,
were- was she?
niece. So there was a relation there.
Lover. No.
No, hey, olden times. But like, it was interesting, and I love the fact that she's the one that they chose to like turn into Diablo, because like the entire game, once you kill Deckard,
that was cool.
when you killed Deckard so early on, which hurt dramatically,
that was a shocker.
most of my Diablo impressions are only based on Deckard.
I mean, he's
Kane.
got the most enjoyable voice to do.
Did you ever see that for a while they had like a Garmin, which used to be
Oh
like,
yeah.
the thing that you put in your car and like would read you directions
was-
left and
yeah, I
right
remember that.
before it
They
was
did
built
Deckard.
into the car.
Yeah.
And then somebody like at one point did like a Deckard Kane. He's like, take a left at the light. Whoops, you missed it. Like, pull a Yui. You're like, and just stuff like that. It was pretty great.
Oh, that is a great.
But like, I thought she was going to take the place because, you know, we're not going to play as her.
Right.
And so she would be the next Deckard who would like identify our stuff.
Or like
you know,
continue on the Herodrum.
yeah, or something
path,
like that.
because
you know?
he's the last of his order,
Yeah.
which is another fine plot line. But yeah, I mean, they definitely did some really good plot twists and things of that nature. But you know, just don't tell me in one game that this is they can never come back once we do this, and then they come back. Like,
Well,
it's so silly.
And just wait, because 4 is on the docket. And
Yeah.
last time I looked, it's supposed to be released this year, but I mean, we're going to be talking December, I
yeah.
imagine. So there is a actual like video, like a cutscene that they've released.
Oh,
and
I've
so
seen
the
that,
big
yeah.
baddie is supposed to be Lilith. And so, Matt, do you want to tell everyone the story of Lilith? I know you were just doing some research about her.
Well, are we talking the actual Lilith?
Yeah, just to
in-
give everyone kind of a history of who she is.
Well, are we talking about in the game or the actual like biblical sense of?
No, let's do in game.
Oh, okay.
That's our biblical.
The Bibble.
That's our other podcast that we do. On
Oh
the
yes,
side.
church talk on Sunday.
Biblical Dirt Dog. With
No, but
Lilith.
essentially, I believe she was like one of the Nephilim. Or no, sorry, she was one of
She
the.
was
She was a
mother.
demon. She was the mother of the Nephilim.
Yeah.
she was a demon who mated with an angel
Mhm.
named what was his name?
I can't
You
pronounce
just
it.
said
I'm
it.
not even going to try.
You just said it correctly.
It starts with an I.
it's like Inigo or something,
Inail
or
or something
Inado.
like that. Yeah.
Because here's the problem too. Too many angels and demons to
Yeah.
remember in this thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like they just keep popping them in there.
Yeah.
It's like it's a who's who of well, we just gotta get this other angel in there. You don't know Craig
Yeah.
the angel. He's
Well, 'cause
he's new
I
here,
remember watching the cutscene and they're like, "It's Lilith," and I was like, "I have no idea." who
right?
this
Because you
is.
guys keep
Like,
adding so
and
many.
I played these games over and over again, and it's just like, and my buddy next to, and who I was with Joe actually at the time,
Yeah.
your brother, and he's a big nerd about this stuff too. And I was like, "Oh, Joe will know." Joe, who is that? He's like, I have no idea.
And I feel like that's the problem too. Like we were saying, like they just keep adding new angels and demons, which is fine, but slow it down a little.
Yeah.
Like this is some convoluted, complex plot. And yet back to the plot anyway. Like those two end up making the Nephilim, which make the humans,
Mhm.
and that's a whole nother layer to unravel.
Yeah.
And yeah, you got the other demons you got to deal with in the game as bosses, and it's like, okay,
So
slow it down.
what I hear is that for Diablo 4, you're looking more for a first-person shooter kind of thing.
Absolutely, I want first-person shooter.
Yeah, I think
Um,
the dungeon crawler thing's just
Definitely a lot more
done.
platforming too.
yeah.
I would love to
Oh,
smash
man.
some bricks with my head and maybe
you know, more DDR based rhythm things. You know,
finally
like,
somebody said it.
if I don't get challenged to a dance off by a demon by hour 4, it's basically unplayable to me.
I mean, they have Rudolph, the DDR legend demon.
Yeah.
Watch out. He drops the best loot, though.
You joke, but I bet that's like the cow level for 4. It's
I
like
hope
a
they're
giant-
listening. They're like, oh, crap, we got to erase that.
Write this down, guys. Write this down.
They guessed it. We got to get rid of it.
Crap.
Oh, yeah,
Jerks.
write it down. But yeah, I mean, that's fine. Lilith seems like a great 4th installment. And here's the thing. Unlike what we were talking about in the last episode with Mass Effect, where they just left everything open and you could like go anywhere with it with another expansion or another game or what have you. This one, I feel like they're kind of running out of room.
Yeah.
It's turning into that Dragon Ball type problem where, oh, this is the biggest villain.
Mhm.
Oh, wait, no, this new guy's bigger than the last one.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's
but
stronger.
that villain's going to be the strongest
Oh,
villain you've
yeah.
ever fought. And
You get this like weird God of the Gaps paradox thing going on.
Yeah.
Where like, well, he's the no,
it's a
he's
race
the-
up the ladder. You know,
Yeah, it's
there's
a
just no
race.
top. Like, you know.
It's like, okay, so we've already dealt with Diablo trying to take over the world in the first one. The second one, we deal with Baal trying to destroy the entire world. Like, and now we're like, oh, heaven and
Like,
hell are at war. And
then let's just start a game where they won. Enough of
that'd
this.
be, I think that'd be
like,
great.
let's have it where like they've taken over and we're like a small sect of people who are trying to fight, you know,
yeah, like
backwards
let's
to a certain
just
degree.
flip a coin, pick one of the heaven
Yeah.
or hell to win, and we can go on there. Because we've seen angels do bad things, we've seen
Oh, yeah.
demons do good things. Let's get it going.
Yeah. Let's have humanity come in and do some.
You know what?
garbage too, you know, like
Humanity
it's about
stopped-
time our like
Actually, I think you're probably more right than I am because humanity just keeps getting dumped on in this game.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
we're just, you guys are losers.
yeah. The one thing I do want to see in 4, or no, I guess I should say the one thing I don't want to see in 4 is I don't want to start out in a camp with green grass. I don't want to go to a desert location.
What do you mean?
I don't want to go to a snowy, mountainy place. And I know that's a lot to ask, but like I just can't.
Hold on, let me check my lore book. That's the only biomes they have, Dan.
That's it. That's the entire environmental world that they
Their
have.
whole world only has jungle, desert,
I-
grassland.
I just every time I play, I'm just like, oh, I'm in the desert again.
And didn't they do it in the same order too? Like, here's the grassland, and then desert's level 2. Like,
Mhm.
come on, guys.
It's in like
Come
we had
on.
mentioned before. I do also would love to see the map randomizers. Got it. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Fix it in post.
Yeah. Well, there's no post. This is it.
Oh no.
I know. But I want to see that come back because I think if you bring that back, that is going to tickle a lot of people who
Oh, yeah.
missed that from 3. Because like I said, playing that game, I like playing it by myself. I like playing it like not online if I can.
Right.
And it's the same game. Like there's parts where it's like you have to find the hidden footprints. You haven't changed it. They're in the exact same location. I feel like I used to play the game on 2. I would follow along the outside of the map
Oh,
and then I would fill the inside in. Yeah, because that's how I played.
Yeah.
And because each map's different, I want to make sure I get every single nook and cranny. Sometimes the Den of Evil's over here. Sometimes it's over here.
Well, and especially when we were set hunting too.
Yeah.
Which in 3, that was another major kind of complaint. Was
Yeah.
the sets were really more about the what do you call them? The
I don't know.
season rewards.
Oh yeah.
and
Once they
then,
started
like,
doing seasonal journeys and all that stuff.
Which was fine for a little bit, but you get burned out real quick.
Yeah. I
'Cause-
miss that set. Like we mentioned, the dopamine reactions. Like because I remember the first time I finally got, and it wasn't even a set piece. It was like a rare, unique, or whatever, like the epic is.
yeah.
And it was way later in the game than I thought. Like, I don't know. It's just the loot distribution wasn't nearly as
Special.
Yeah. I
After
guess
a while,
maybe
it didn't become as special.
They didn't drop it enough to keep me captivated because like it's almost like Diablo 2 knew it's like, well, we haven't dropped anything for this person in a while. They're probably getting a little aggravated. Let's go ahead and give them one,
They
but then
said-
we'll double the length until we drop it again.
They just hit the button, drop the loot.
Drop the load. He's getting a little angry, guys. Just give him an Arctic furs. They'll be fine. This is my 3rd Arctic furs.
Oh, geez. But yeah, I just wish they wouldn't have But back to what we were talking about, though. I just wish they wouldn't have shoehorned in some things.
Yeah,
Like, because honestly, that's what Diablo was. Just
Yeah.
kind of shoehorned
it's
it.
fine. I
I
mean,
get it.
I
But,
know, but
'cause I thought the other demons were so much more interesting.
Yeah.
And like, I wish they would have just stuck with that. Like,
but to be fair, like, are we really, really playing this game for the lore in the first place?
to a degree.
I mean, okay, I shouldn't speak for everyone, but like,
To a
there's a
degree.
lot of times that like, and it's so full of monologues and not dialogue.
yeah.
Like, there's not a lot of I talk, you talk.
It's just more somebody talking at
Somebody
you.
just like dumps like 4 paragraphs of the history of something and like, man, they're talking real slow, and like I just want to go click and beat the hell out of something over here. Like there needs to be a better way to interject the actual lore.
Yeah,
to
that
where
would be a
the
big
users
help.
can understand what's happening instead of like things are happening to us and we're just listening to people and moving on.
And I kind of wish they did honestly, what I would really
like a
love.
pop quiz at the end of every single hit. Like
And that
before you
depen-
move on, what did I just say? Ah, crap. Like you have to.
The Lord of Terror shows up. What you fear the most? A quiz.
Oh, God.
A pop quiz. Pencils down.
Oh no. You have to write it in blood.
And the last question's an essay.
Oh god. Yeah. I just something that, and I'm not trying to say like spoon feed me the lore.
Right.
Because I like reading and all that other stuff, but like something about this game and how they decide to deliver it feels cryptically slow.
It feels like old-timey comic book villain.
Yeah.
Like, let me explain my master plan.
Yeah.
And honestly, that brings me to my point. I really wish they would do it like Bloodborne style or Dark Souls,
Okay.
where you think there's no lore in this game. Wrong. It's all in the item descriptions.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Every
Okay.
little, I know you don't play it much.
I played
your skill
Bloodborne
and your-
for 10 minutes and decided that I would rather do anything else in the world. That was the worst 10 minutes of
It
my
is the
life.
best game ever. But anyway.
There was a werewolf all of a sudden, and I just
And I was panicking.
and I just kept running.
We'll get to that on a later date. But
No, we're not doing Bloodborne. It's a terrible game.
I'm sorry you fear the old blood. But anyway.
Sure, whatever that means.
But anyway. All their item descriptions, like when you click on like a piece of armor you get, it'll have like detailed lore about the world and everything. I wish Diablo would kind of go that way. Like you get a piece of gear. Not only is the gear good, but it actually has a little bit of story too. And it's up to you if you want to find the story. That way it's not just thrown at you in like a 10-minute
Yeah.
or monologue about,
And which is weird because like I loved how the lore was presented in Witcher 3. Like, have you played that one?
Yep.
Like, and if you're not paying attention in Witcher 3, then you are lost beyond all lost. Like, Witcher 3
Yeah.
is one of the biggest games with 5 different currencies, and you have 2 different swords depending on who you're fighting on. And like, is it magic? And like, this town is at war with this town who hates this town because of what this town did. Like, and how they presented it, I felt like it was an easy, way to bring it all in.
They did do a really good job of that.
But there's something about whenever the monologues start in Diablo 3, my brain just
And
takes a
don't get me
vacation.
wrong, I understand like what I was saying too, like they do have like little documents you can pick up in
Sure.
3 that give you some blur, but
Yeah.
like just more of that, because you can read faster than you can sit there for the voice actor to go like, and then the third era, Diablo came and
I
sacked
think-
the city.
And maybe that's it. Maybe
Yeah.
it shouldn't be read out, or I should be able to toggle turning it on and off.
Something, yeah.
Because the voice actors are great.
Oh, they
Don't get me
do a
wrong. This
great
isn't what
job.
we're talking
Especially
about.
Witch Doctor. What a great,
they're fantastic. But like, there's so many, like I said, long-winded monologues that are just saying names and locations. And
Yep.
on the third story of the 19th day, when the thunder struck twice, I had toast. And I'm like, oh my God, what's the point of this? Like, bring it all together, or just they can tie it, because let's be honest, Blizzard and their cinematic sequences are gorgeous.
Oh, absolutely.
You cannot detract from that. This
And actually, you could even just go that route too. Just make more cinematic.
Yeah, make more cinematics. Or even just make mini movies. Like the fact that there isn't a Diablo movie,
That is kind of shocking.
or they made a World of Warcraft movie and it did great. I'm just gonna let the silence sit here for a
Cricket.
little bit. But like with their with the cinematics,
You were going to
like,
say animatronic.
I
and I
almost
got
did.
excited.
Yeah, I would go to a Blizzard theme park.
Oh, yeah.
No, okay. But like I just think if you just made the movies a little bit more integral instead of just like a 3 to 10 second
As they say in
intro.
the writing world, show, don't tell.
Sure, okay, but also tell, because that's what we're talking about.
That's what it, yeah.
Okay, that's I want them to tell.
That's the route I'm going. But anyway, yeah, like, I don't know. If they, like I was saying before, if they just didn't throw the information at us, if they didn't rely so heavily on their MacGuffins and just calm down the story building aspect.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we're getting really convoluted now
Yeah.
with like the expansion with Reaper of Souls with Mathiel or whatever.
Yeah,
And
I didn't
like,
even know who that was.
he was the angel of
assumed-
wisdom, I believe. And like, he was like, I'm going to get the soul stones and erase humanity because I'm going to erase demons with it. And along with them go humanity and we're going to win. And they're like, no, that's too much.
And see, the sad part is like, I think that's cool. Like I like.
Oh yeah. Overall that DLC was great.
But the problem is they have a good story. I think they're having trouble delivering it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like they can have a cool story that Mathael is doing all this stuff. It's just how they've packaged it and put it in the game doesn't deliver to where I don't think I'm getting I don't think they're giving it to me the right way.
It's hard to, so they throw it at you and it's hard to like grasp.
Yeah.
It's essentially hard to keep it all together. It's turning into like the Kingdom Hearts thing where
I don't want to talk about
branching
Kingdom Hearts right
too
now.
far out.
Yeah.
Or kind of like what we were saying earlier with Marvel in general too.
Oh yeah, Marvel's gonna have some issues.
Marvel needs to rein it in a little bit.
Marvel's gonna have some issues. I mean, but they also probably won't because Marvel makes $1 billion.
Oh no, financially they're fine.
And every single time
they can do whatever
Marvel's
they want.
Gonna have issues, they do something and are like, oh well, that's how they fixed it. But if you've if you've seen Eternals, if a giant celestial pops out of the planet, that's gonna cause a lot of issues that we're gonna need to talk about.
But we won't.
And we'll just move on. But like
this isn't the Snyderverse.
Somebody needs to talk about the giant half, god that's now shooting.
Just for reference, this is the year 2022, and it will have been a 3-month.
That's
probably
true.
longer than that.
Hey, Eternals is on Disney Plus right now. Hey, Disney,
for free.
If you'd like to sponsor us, please feel free. Again,
we'll quit talking about the giant celestial hanging out of the ocean.
I'll talk about how no one cares anymore about the giant celestial
and how great it is.
And it was a great idea. Can't wait. Can't wait.
Can't wait.
You definitely haven't written yourself into a corner here, guys. Not at all.
What about that Galactus guy?
God.
But
anyways, this is a Diablo. We have a whole thing that we're going to do on
Let's
Marvel
get back on that.
Don't worry.
But yeah, no, back to Diablo. I will say though, I really do wish they would focus more on the actual primevals because we got enough with Bale, we got plenty with Diablo. Mephisto really didn't get much.
Yeah.
And then I do love what they do with the angels and kind of like they're good, but no, not really.
Yeah.
But like,
it's like the
quit
ends
making so
justify
many
the means kind
right.
of thing,
And I really wish they'd focus more on that and not just keep adding new characters and making things so convoluted.
And maybe since this is going off where we just had a Mass Effect episode, maybe a little bit of decisions that we get to make.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Not just things happen to us, and
not just because we're the chosen one.
Yeah, let us make some decisions. Let us decide.
Because if you think about it, a lot of the game is based on the prophecy said you have to do this.
Yeah. And it's just, and that's fine. And if I'm the chosen one, but then the chosen one wants to make some decisions. Like I should be able to fight with the angels or the demons. It can be just even a split route. Just
that'd be a real great
just
change.
something where I have to pick a side.
Yeah, because let's be honest, it's going to take them another 15 years to get the sequel out.
Yeah.
So let's just make this the last one.
It's very much.
So yeah, there we go. Let's just make this last one the final coin flip.
Yeah.
Heaven or hell wins. You get to choose which side you're going on.
And I'd also like to get the powers of the angels. Maybe let me play as one of the angels.
Right.
That would be kind of cool. Or maybe I don't think I should ever be able to play as a primeval or anything that. But there are so many named angels that, for a fun little bit that we should be able to maybe do a quick little level as, or, something that could be pretty cool.
Yeah, you could definitely because I think I would love to keep the classes, or maybe just add a class depending on which side you pick, angel or demon. Now you get an angelic character or a demonic
instead
one.
of just giving me wings, it's some cosmetic stuff or anything like that. I mean, I like the cosmetic stuff. Don't get me wrong; it's a fun little addition.
Who doesn't love playing dress up?
Yeah, I mean, in D3, I got the update. I get to throw those wings on, but I think they're from Overwatch or something.
Yeah, honestly, I was not a big fan of the wings.
There's a lot of cross game promotion in 3 that kind of felt like, can't you get something for a Zerg?
Little gimmicky.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, okay.
A little self-gratulate.
It's okay, I get it. That's fine. Never played the other games, but I'm not going to, say no to free stuff.
I played a lot of them. I played a lot of the other ones, but even then, it's just tone it down with the cosmetics. Get more, just kind of zone everything in. That'd be great.
And and for the animation style, bring it back to a more realistic. If you play Resurrection, what they have everyone look like now looks killer.
Ooh.
Next time you're over, I'll pop it in and show you. But the druid looks like how the druid should look. It doesn't have this overly kind of stylized feel. It feels dirtier and more gothic.
Right.
And it feels like Diablo 2 should.
Oh, going back to Diablo 2 as well. I really wish at the end it would have showed what happened to your character at the end too.
Yeah.
Because certain things actually happen to these characters, like the barbarian, the sorceress, things like that. Because like I think the sorceress goes on to train the sorceress in 3.
Mm-hmm.
And like they actually have canonical endings. And I wish they'd show that in the end.
In 2?
Yeah, from 2.
I don't remember any characters of 2 showing up in 3.
Zul or XUL, Zul, the necromancer does.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
He's the one from, and it's not stated, but it is, wink, wink, probably is.
Yeah.
The barbarian from the second game is the one from 3rd, the male one.
Okay.
Because the age,
really?
It's 20 years after, and the age would fit.
Well, I remember I did some,
which is great.
And like, so the paladin, like how they've talked to how the paladin, his like,
well, and they kind of give you blurbs of it in 3, but I just
like
wish,
a sect of paladin that have split, and that's where the
and that
Crusader comes in.
Right.
Like it's the more aggressive version of the paladin class.
That's one thing I loved about 3 was them like touching upon like the aftermath. And I wish 2 would have done that with their endings, because I mean I doubt they wrote that or had that in mind. Because I think I could be wrong too, but I think like the paladin and the druid don't really have an ending. Same with like the assassin, they just kind of vanish.
Yeah, and this mostly
but I wish they would have just
DLC. So
well,
they don't.
Still, I wish
they don't want you to have to buy DL. Well,
I just wish they gave everybody a proper ending in 2, because everybody has their own little thing they do.
Yeah.
Kind of like in the first one, where you only know what happens to the warrior. We don't know what happens to the mage or the ranger.
Well, that's because they assume everyone played the warrior. Like, they assume no one played the ranger or the rogue or the wizard.
Right,
and like,
the little elf.
For all intents and purposes, you played the warrior, and we're just going to move on with
Well,
that.
I heard the mage and the ranger guy went on to Gauntlet, and they tried they did a different franchise.
Was it Golden? What was that one?
Golden
game?
Axe.
Golden Axe. They just went over to Golden Axe, and that's where they live now.
They live there forever.
Well, all right, Matt. Do we have one last sponsor?
Actually, I believe we do. It is called Diablo Delights.
Oh,
delight yourself with hellish chocolate.
Okay. Now on pre-order.
Actually, and they sold out.
Oh, okay. Well, we tried.
Sorry.
Swing and a miss.
We'll have to get the pre-order back later.
Alrighty, guys. So we're going to wrap this one up. Thank you again for hanging out with us today. Like I said, I've been Dan. This has been Matt.
I've been Matt.
And
the whole time.
And we will see you guys next week. All right.
Later.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.